What's good, everybody? So as we all know, yesterday the Sensor Tower monthly revenue report did come out, and we found out once again the CN community is carrying Love in Deepspace, and we made a boat truck of money. A boatload of money, okay? One of the highest, top two, but in CN it was the top one by quite a huge margin, okay? $55 million from the CN community. And so the conclusion we get from that is Love in Deepspace is absolutely not short of any money whatsoever. And because of this, because for a few months now, Love in Deepspace has been continuing to earn more and more money as the months go on. They're only getting bigger and bigger, which is a great thing, right? It's not very often that a gacha game increases its revenue month on month this far after their release. So they're clearly doing a very good job. But that is now coming with some downsides that we are, now seeing. People are starting to, be a bit concerned. We see comments here. All right, no excuses for the Rush Zayne branch. The story had so much potential, but the lack of animated scenes was very underwhelming. No cutscenes, MC had no voice, her lines skipping through, difficult to follow. Need to do better. As a person who is spending on the game and contributing to their gains, I'm cutting back until I see quality content. But also very sad since I main Zayne that we won't get anything quality content for him soon. So I did the Thorns Under the Moon. I did the whole thing all in one go, the prologue bit, and I did this main story branch. And I didn't really give my true thoughts about all this at the time, because I was going to leave it for a separate video, okay? I was going to do a separate video talking about it, but I figured now is as good as time as any, considering everyone else is talking about it. So to me, Thorns Under the Moon felt like a very, very long, 5-star memory quest rather than a main story branch quest, right? It felt like one of those. And we had one animated scene here, which you can have as a memory, as a kindled, after you do a bunch of the event stuff, right? Of 5 days, you can grab this part as an actual memory. I believe that's what it is. And people are unhappy, You have a game that's making tens of millions of dollars every month. They increase monetization of their outfits. Increase monetization by doing a quad 5-star banner every single month. And yet, when we come to a main story branch quest, they don't put the effort in either voicing the character, voicing the MC, no animations, no specific cutscenes for these main story branches. It really does feel like a 5-star sort of, memory quest line that you get with the memories that you pick up. There was one point within Thorns Under the Moon that I thought was pretty, I don't want to say the word lackluster, but it was kind of confusing, okay? When we get to this point here, when we're trying to destroy these clusters, I forget what exactly, these protocol clusters, to free ourselves from this dream state. I don't know about anyone else, but this part confused me. I remember reading it, and it kind of lost me. It kind of really lost me, and I think it would have benefited immensely from either it being directed and voiced different, maybe the MC was being voiced, or here an animation or something would have been far more engaging, because this seems like there's a lot of movement happening, okay? There's a lot of movement happening in this specific moment. You have Zayne on one side and the MC is kind of somewhere else, and they're having to destroy these clusters in tandem, if I remember correctly. And that's kind of hard to understand and comprehend while everything else is going on. And it makes it even more convoluted when you're in a dream, you don't know what's real. Images are flashing before him. He's throwing his evil power at things in the mist, and you don't know what it is. It gets a lot. It gets a lot. And something like this in a visual novel either needs better writing to convey what the heck is going on, or you need a cutscene to make it more clear, okay? To make it more clear what exactly is going on. So how about we talk about why I think this feels different in Prologue to Tomorrow compared to Under Deepspace and Long Awaited Revelry, okay? So Under Deepspace and Long Awaited Revelry are both main story branches that directly influence and push forward the main narrative of the story, okay? All of these push the main story forward in its progress, okay? Prologue to tomorrow, however, the only thing that truly pushes the main story narrative is Eye of the Storm. We get new information about beta proto-curves and wanderers. They're getting more aggressive. They're appearing in other places, right? And they're causing havoc. That's the new main story update that's being pushed to us, right? Thorns Under the Moon does not push the main narrative whatsoever. It is purely a moment of a situation that happens between the MC and Zayne during this time that we find the new information. The only interesting new bits of info we get is like Ever is involved again, but it still doesn't actually push the main story. So I think that's why there is a bit of a disconnect between why Thorns Under the Moon does not feel like anything like ambiguous chaos or breakthrough. They're even like labeled differently, like 1, 2, like they're different because they're not meant to push the main story. They're meant to be a main story branch, right? That's how they've marketed it. It's a main story branch of the MC and each of the allies together during the time that this is directly happening in the present, right? And I've seen people say, oh, okay, but that's you know, that's by the by, you know. But Thorns Under the Moon itself, the writing that actually is within it is not good enough. And that I totally agree with. That is the premise I totally agree with. I feel like Zayne doesn't change really throughout Thorns Under the Moon. We start it the same way we end. I think people were looking forward to the whole Dawnbreaker thing. And I think people felt like they expected Zayne to become Dawnbreaker, right? I feel as though people expected Zayne. This is the moment where he goes from Zayne to being Dawnbreaker, and we're gonna get huge lore drops and huge lore reveals on how that all works and how we're gonna connect all these different like myths together and anecdotes together. But in actuality, what happens is it is present Zayne who is dreaming. We land in his dream for Dawnbreaker, right? We land in his dream for Dawnbreaker. And so we are still really none the wiser whether Dawnbreaker Zayne is truly a real sort of thing in an alternate time in the future, or if it happens to be in his dreams, right? It's still one of those things. It's present. It is present day Zayne in his own dream of being Dawnbreaker. It is still not Dawnbreaker Zayne we are interacting with. So of course he's not going to be or act differently. And I think those things come together of why Thorns Under the Moon might have felt underwhelming, right? It's not a segment that pushes the main narrative forward, so the devs aren't gonna spend as many, or it seems they don't want to be as willing to spend more resources to make it animated with all these things. Like, they're not gonna make it a long-awaited revelry, because this directly pushes main narrative. This does not. It just gives us more context and something to do that happens with Zayne. Should there have been more? Yes, I do agree. The writing should have been better. It should have been more coherent. It should have been, at least the localization should have been far better, right? But I don't know if I necessarily agree that it should be as animated long-awaited revelry. But now that we know they're making boatloads of money, do you know what? Screw it. Animate everything. We're going from visual novel to movie, okay? You're making so much money, I want to see more effort. And that I totally agree with, and I totally respect that. But that's kind of my take on why I think Thorns Under the Moon didn't quite hit as hard as the others. I agree with a lot of sentiment, but, you know, again, it's not something pushing the main narrative, so they're not going to put as much stock into it. I'm more interested in what will come after. These are, again, they've said the main story branches. It is not main story. But either way, I agree. Needs more effort, but there's a survey for a reason. We should, you know, go to the survey, say what you think, and don't be afraid to express your opinion. And anyone who comes to this and says, oh, just enjoy it for what it is, like, shut up. With respect, shut up. They're making so much money. It is perfectly within everyone's right to complain about this. It's perfectly within everyone's right. So that's really all I have to say and I have to add. Again, if you like this video, like and subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. Leave a comment down below what you think. And again, I'm recording this live, so if you want to come and join the live talks and discussions about Love and Deep Space, then come along to my Twitch. My Twitch chat is very nice, I promise. We do have people like No Heart who are a little bit silly, who are a little bit goofy, but I promise they don't bite. So come along to my Twitch, it'll be a good time, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.